Good afternoon, members. It's Wednesday, March 25th. A quorum is not present, and the Minnesota Senate Education Policy Committee will come to order. Today we'll be marking up the Omnibus bill, and I have a few things I just want to say, and then we have 4 student testifiers from 4 different schools today. So that's, and you guys will be up in a minute. I just want to, in case you weren't fortunate to hear the debate on the floor today, it was a very lively debate, and for me, I've been talking since session began about the semi-quincentennial of this great nation and the 250th anniversary of our founding, and because it's Women's History Month this month, sometimes young women, when they're studying American history, they often feel like they're left out. And I'll never forget the first time a young woman asked me if she's qualified to be governor. And I looked at her and I just kind of cracked up and I said, well, of course you're qualified to be governor. And she goes, well, but all the mentioning of the governor in the Minnesota State Constitution says he. So wouldn't that be interpreted and implied that I'm not qualified if the language is he? And I just looked at her and I thought I was talking to a 40-year-old for a brief moment because she was mature beyond her years. And so, but with that said, a lot of my students over the years were like, well, why don't we call these people the founders of the nation? Why do we say founding fathers? And it's a word language that maybe we all got too accustomed to, calling this group of revolutionaries a bunch of men. And so what I'd like to share with you today is a brief excerpt from the letter that Abigail Adams, who was in Boston, sent to her husband, John Adams, who will become the 2nd president of the United States in a few years. And her husband, John Adams, was busy in Philadelphia among those 5 gentlemen that were writing the Declaration of Independence. And what Abigail Adams sent to her husband, I'll say the date twice, March 31st, 1776. So in a matter of days, it'll be the 250th anniversary of this letter. Abigail Adams writes to her husband, I'd advise the husbands to provide women equal representation under this new future government. And I'd advise you that the opportunity for female representation in a new nation that proclaims that all men are created equal. And I ask you to remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors were. She further warned her husband against putting unlimited power in the hands of husbands on the grounds that the unrepresentative women would be determined to I love this, that the women would be determined to foment a rebellion and will not hold themselves bound by any laws in which they had no voice or no representation. March 31st, 1776, 250 years later, and we're having the debates of the Equal Rights Amendment and menstrual products for women in our bathrooms and changing he to they in the Minnesota State Constitution. So with that said, students, begin your testimony. And welcome spectators and participants to our last formal hearing. Or I don't know if, but okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, members of committee. My name is Sadie Stowers, and I'm a 12th grader at Minnetonka High School. One of my favorite things about school is the community it fosters. It's the getting to know your teachers, your peers, as well as faculty members. One place that fosters this community is at Vantage. Vantage is a Minnetonka High School program that allows for students like me to learn about careers spanning from health sciences to even fashion. I've been a part of Vantage for 2 years studying international relations and public policy. I've worked for nonprofits in Ukraine, Malawi, and I've also worked with the League of Women Voters on school safety in Minnesota. I've learned valuable professional skills such as leading, working with others, and professionalism. One of the great aspects of Vantage is having mentorship. Having one-on-one professional relationships have allowed me to look at possible careers. According to a survey, 93% of parents say that Vantage has had the positive impact on their students, and I would definitely have to agree. As a student who struggles with learning disabilities in class, getting real-world opportunities has made me look forward to my career. In my opinion, every school in Minnesota should include a career-oriented programming to foster community and allow for students to grow outside the classroom. If I could wave a wand and change one thing about Minnesota education, it would be allowing for more equitable funding across the state of Minnesota. Every student should have opportunities for their future, and education is a human right and should be accessible to all. And right now, according to NPR, 63 districts are currently being underfunded. Students are the future, and education is important in times like these. There needs to be a change so we can ensure education and opportunities are equal for all students across the great state of Minnesota. Thank you.
Hi, members of the committee. My name is Hope Adashida, and I am a senior at Eden Prairie High School. When it comes to something I really enjoy about my school, it's the fact that we have so many opportunities, just like Minnetonka High School, where we are able to explore potential career options. One of them being capstones, which currently I'm going to the University of South Florida next fall, and I'll be studying marketing and pre-law, and I'm able to take a marketing analytics capstone where I'm able to work with businesses and come up with marketing campaigns and that they will actually apply to their company. I think that is super cool, as well as the senior intern program that we have at our high school, which is where we get to go to careers and take career site visits and come and visit and see what people do and see what we would like. If I could wave a wand and change one thing, I would definitely change a simple thing as weighted GPA. I wish all schools had weighted GPA in the sense that I take mainly honors and AP courses, and although I'm very proud of my GPA and I have a high GPA, I wish it reflected my hard work that I put into it a little bit more. My favorite thing about school would have to be talking to people. I'm very social, and I love our community that we have at Eden Prairie. We're such school-spirited, and I help lead that as a spirit leader, which I think is probably one of my favorite things. We're such a tight community. I do DECA, and that is one of the biggest chapters in Minnesota, which I'm very proud to be a part of, and it's also a very good chapter. So I think as a community as a whole, Eden Prairie does an excellent job with that. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming in today and for not letting school get in the way of your education and seizing this opportunity to inform us about the good and what we could do better on education. Thanks for coming in. Your parents would be proud. I'm sure I'm going to say that to the next two testifiers too. So, Senator Duckworth.
Very briefly, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to note for the record that I was on my best behavior, even though EP was here today. Big Lakeville rival.
Yeah.
Sports and DECA. So.
Are you Wyzetta?
Oh my gosh. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Calm down, Senator.
We're gonna keep it professional. Thank you for being here, and I regret having said anything at all.
Our next two testifiers are online? Yeah. Okay, come on up. Begin.
Hi, members of the committee. My name is Sami Mahmoud, and I am a senior at Kennedy High School in Bloomington. One of my favorite things about my school and my school district is the staff. We have an excellent staff here at Kennedy that really support our students, and it's really important for that. And it's really important to have staff that support students, especially in a time where there is so much things going on in our world. Our staff are really focused on our students' mental health, safety, and well-being. Something about my school that I think every school in Minnesota should have access to is like achievement nights. So something about being a high school student is that we have some students that go above and beyond. Something that my school district does is honor the seniors throughout their high school career, talking about the things that they do and rewarding them for it. Having that type of experience really encourages students to have that type of experience and to go above and beyond in school. If I could wave a wand and change one thing at my school or education in Minnesota as a whole, is that I would change the mental health access at schools. Mental health and education should be going in tandem. Students are expected to sit in classrooms for 6+ hours a day, and education is really important, but also students' mental health are really important as well. And what part of my school day is the most exciting to me is honestly the activities and the experiences that I'm involved in and what I get to do in school. For example, today our NHS program has a day-long blood drive. So students get to come volunteer. We have 70 plus people, staff and students, who have volunteered to donate their blood, and it really involves our community. This was a conjoined effort with our Kennedy HOSA, our Kennedy Student Government, and our NHS. So to have that experience is really important, and that's where I am at right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And our last student testifier.
Hello, my name is Rishika Anasuri, and just really quick, if a bell goes off, just know that we're just gonna ignore it. Passing period is happening right now, so we'll hope I can get through this. Okay, members of the committee. My name is Rishika Anasuri, a senior at Edina High School, and I've had the honor of serving as a state officer for Minnesota HOSA this year. For those who may not be familiar, HOSA is a career and technical student organization, a CTSO, dedicated to empowering the future health professionals, with over 3,000 members in Minnesota alone. But before I was a state officer, I was just a student who joined HOSA to hang out with my friends in the mornings before school. It was a casual choice for me, but as I've grown in this organization, I've realized that the opportunity to simply join an activity for fun is a privilege that isn't guaranteed for every student in our state. My favorite thing about Edina is having the freedom to pursue clubs and learn about subjects that genuinely interest me. I've always dreamed of becoming a doctor, so naturally I took all the STEM courses offered at my school, including human anatomy, organic chemistry, and AP Bio. At Edina, I have been fortunate. My school recognizes that learning doesn't just happen at the desk. Because our district supports CTSOs like HOSA and DECA, I've been able to gain hands-on leadership and clinical exposure. But this isn't the case for every student in Minnesota. My fellow state officer, Linnea Pedersen from Como Park Senior High, had to fight her district tooth and nail just to start a HOSA chapter. And while Linnea and Como Parks got their happy ending, many districts have restrictive policies or lack of administrative support for CTSOs, creating a gatekeeping effect. When districts limit these organizations, they aren't just cutting a club. They're cutting a student's only pathway to professional networking and career readiness, a pathway to feel confident leaving high school and going into our careers. If I could change one thing about education in Minnesota, it would be to bridge the gap between classroom and real-world application for every industry. Whether a student wants to be a surgeon, an engineer, a tradesperson, or an entrepreneur, they need more than just lectures. They need integrated partnerships, shadowing credits, and the ability to earn professional certifications directly through their high schools. We need to stop treating career preparation as an extracurricular and start treating it as a core component of education. I'm asking this committee to move towards standardizing support for CTSOs. No student should have to fight their administration for the right to prepare for their future. Furthermore, we should invest in partnerships that bring real-world training to our classrooms. We have around 900,000 K-12 students in Minnesota today. If we lower the barriers to career technical education, those 900,000 students won't just be graduates. They will be highly skilled, certified workforce that the Minnesota's economy needs to thrive. Thank you for your time.
I wish Senator Mann was here to see the last two speakers. She would have been very proud of you. So, audience, can we applaud these students, please? And thank you, members of the committee, for bringing in students. It's wonderful to hear what's the work that we do and that work that we can do to help them lead richer lives. So anyways, for the record, a quorum is present. Okay, we're going to start with going through the bill. I move Senate File 3870 before the committee. On Monday, we adopted the A3 amendment. I will now offer the A18. This is the author's amendment that includes the following items. Removes the problematic PSEO language, makes a few technical changes, removes the board minutes language that applied to charter schools, The charters and MDA will come back with better language next year. Members, any questions or comments before we take the roll call?
Mr. Chair.
Senator Duckworth?
Just briefly, Mr. Chair, just wanted to specifically thank you for addressing the PSEO issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Abler?
Well, Mr. Chair, I had an amendment to get rid of the PSEO thing, and so I'm just the third string commenter. So you have it in your amendment. Senator Duckworth agrees. So actually, I'm happy that this committee has been so responsive to the students who want to take PSEO and the advocates. I think a lot of times they might not think that the legislature is responsive. I think that they should get a hint that the first three comments on their bill, as we heard you loud and clear, and that we really value the opportunities they can get in PSEO. And I mentioned, I'm sure a number of students, it holds them in the educational arena where we want them to be in and to succeed like some of the students we saw here. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator. All those in favor of the A18 amendment, say aye. Are we not doing roll call? Okay, all those opposed? All right, amendment passes. Senator McQuaid, would you like to offer and introduce the A17 amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would.
Okay. Would you care to introduce it?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The A17 amendment is the READ Act as was walked through on Monday? Yep, Monday. And I believe I have an amendment to this amendment, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair and Senator McQuaid, the change that was requested is reflected in this document. On page 3, line 3.23 to 3.24 is slightly different than what the committee saw on Monday.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, okay, thank you, members. On 3.23 and 3.24, what this was when we walked through it on Monday is it said after an initial screening for characteristics of dyslexia, English language learners will be screened according to vendor guidelines. And it's actually the vendor guidelines that tell when that initial assessment happens, because sometimes English language learners aren't as proficient enough in English to not automatically be screened as having characteristics of dyslexia because of the proficiency gap. So this is the more accurate language. That's the only change from Monday to today.
Members, anybody? Okay, all those in favor of the McQuaid amendment, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Senator Golden, do you have the A5 amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would offer the A5 amendment.
Begin.
Thank you. So this amendment is related to something we heard about from testifiers on Monday, students who were asking for this, and I'm the liaison to the Minnesota Youth Council, and this is something that they have been working on. This just changes the language currently. My apologies, I'm describing another amendment that I have, not the A5 amendment, so I will back up and talk about the A5 amendment.
Thank you, Senator.
The A5 amendment, we'll come back to that thought, but the A5 amendment is language that actually, I believe this committee passed and included in our omnibus bill last session, but it did not make its way back from conference committee, so we're gonna try again. It actually came from a bill from Senator Seeberger, and it changes the language. It's around Narcan availability in schools, which of course is a medication that saves lives in relation to overdose. It changes that schools may allow students to possess it to that they must allow it. We want to be sure that this is uniform across the state and that kids in schools across the state have access to this life-saving medication.
Members, any questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Senator. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The amendment carries. Senator Golden. Senator Bolden, would you like to introduce the A6?
I would. I was so excited about the A6, I wanted to talk about it first.
Well,
So,
I can't imagine more enthusiasm than for the last amendment, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the A6 does come from the Minnesota Youth Council and was referenced by several of the students who spoke to us on Monday. And it changes the language that schools are encouraged to have a process to include student representation, non-voting student representation on their school boards, that they must have a process to do that. Again, we want to be sure that this is available and happening across the state, that we are including students.
Members, any questions? Or Senator Duckworth?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question. If a board were to allow students to participate in public comment, would that suffice?
Senator?
Mr. Chair, I think as, you know, so the language says that they must adopt a process to include student representation to advise the school board. And so I think that there is some room for interpretation there of how the school board feels that they are being advised. So I guess there's some openness there, but just the intention is to be sure that we are including student voices, again, in that non-voting capacity to the school board.
If I may, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that and noted that it's non-voting capacity. I think that's warranted. I guess my reading of it would be if a school board, if their process would allow students to participate in public comment and give their advice to the board at that time, then this really wouldn't be that significant of a change, so long as that is a method that which they could utilize regarding this process. So, which I think fits with your answer. So that's all I've got, Mr. Chair. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? I just want to thank you, Senator Bolden, for bringing this forward. I know we talked about this last year. Washington, D.C. is like the classic, the Congress makes the rules, but they want to hear from the residents, the non-voting member of D.C., because all the laws they pass impact directly D.C. And so for them to have a non-voting member just makes so much sense. And to your point, you know, getting kids involved and making sure they understand how this process works. So I really thank you for bringing this amendment forward. With that said, all those in favor of the A6 amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The amendment carries. Senator Abler, would you like to offer and introduce the A11 amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm excited to offer this amendment, and I appreciate the attention of the chair and some other members of this committee to this situation. As people, so I'll move the A11. So as the discussion has gone on in 2023, it was decided that there was some unfairness and maybe even some racism in how some of the dismissals were occurring in grades K to 3. And over those concerns, it was then decided that there could be no dismissals more than a portion of a day. That did actually reduce dismissals quite a bit, obviously. But there was a problem that we discussed, and I won't go on very long, Mr. Chair, but there was a problem in that some of the students in those levels were actually being pretty aggressive. In Anoka district alone, this year there have been 142 classroom evacuations and somewhere in the range of 100 teacher injuries and untold numbers of classroom experiences lost to the students in the classes. Perhaps 4,000 students or more if you just figure 25 kids in a class. And so with no ability of the school to even find a way to get a plan together to how to help this child. And so it was, I would say, highly controversial, Mr. Chair, in its original form, even just with adding one day. But I want to thank Ms. Webster and the people she represents who remain seriously concerned about the inappropriate and discriminatory suspensions. But I think that this amendment, and Dr. Law and my friends in Anoka District who worked with me on this, and I think we've got something that actually could safely become law and actually give a way out. And so what the amendment calls for is if there's, in the first instance, it has to be not just throwing a chapstick or somebody glaring at somebody. There has to be significant bodily harm or the potential for significant bodily harm. And so in one case, a pregnant woman was punched in the stomach, her head got slammed in a cupboard, a different person. And there's story after story to get to 100 injuries just in Anoka, and so there must be thousands across the state. And so it has to be something significantly physical. It can't be a taunt, it can't be glaring or anything at all that's not a physical thing. So I think it's pretty good about there. And on the second event, they have to get together with the family and the staff. They have to get committee members, instructors, school staff, counseling staff, parent and guardian, and the IEP team members to identify and discuss the following. And so it's not just to get together and have a chat and have a little donut, but they're going to actually try to see like what contributed to the incident. So how do we help this child to maybe get back on track and not be throwing desks around? And so there's what factors may have contributed, skill deficits, students deficits, staff skill deficits, sensory environmental factors, emotional physical trauma, et cetera. And then a plan to address those student and staff skills to make it actually be more rare, which I really like. And then if necessary, mental health supports. And then we even declare in the amendment that the return to school must not be dependent upon convening the meeting. They get to go back would be the second full day, no matter what. And then we emphasize on line 2.16 that the administrator must use the dismissal time at the very least to prepare for the student's reentry to school, which is, I think, a brief summary of what the higher version is there. But Mr. Chair, I think that this is going to work really well. And it puts a little burden on the districts, but I think that is their job after all, and I think they want to do this. And so I really want to thank the different members who worked with me on this. Anyway, some of my seatmates. But I think we're there. And Mr. Chair, sometimes these really hard challenges that we have trying to solve a solution require listening. And if you remember the testimony to my original bill, there was a lot of reticence. And I think it's important, Mr. Chair, understand and listen to reticence, like in the PSEO thing, on this matter. And I think after a while, we can get some really, really good policy. And so I'm really quite proud to bring that forward, Mr. Chair. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions or comments? Okay. All those, and Senator Abler, I appreciate all the work you and your tenacity. Well, I don't think I've ever said that word out loud before. Your tenacity on this and having, so thank you. All those in favor of the A11 amendment say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The amendment carries. Senator Mann was going to be up next, but she's not here. So Senator May Quaid.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. This is the A16 amendment. It is, I'll just introduce it as to why it's happening. There are a lot of places in statute where we have said in order to do a job, you have to have a license. And there's credentialing and checks and all that stuff that goes with that. And so what this would put into statute is there is a definition of qualified teacher. And essentially this just clarifies that AI is not a qualified teacher to teach in a public school. It also mentions that teachers are prohibited from using AI, but I want us to be really clear that, you know, we have licensing and credentialing for a reason, and that's what this would do.
Members, any comments? Senator Coleman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not against the amendment. I'm just genuinely curious, like, has this happened?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's Sarah Coleman. Yeah, it has happened. It's not happening in Minnesota, which is why I feel most comfortable offering it now when we're not changing anything for anybody. But, you know, we've seen different ways that AI is being deployed, and not all of which I disagree with, but I just want to make sure we're kind of protecting our licensed professions, and this is the one I want to protect.
Senator Abler? Or Senator Coleman, Senator Abler?
Well, the time you want to pass something is when everybody goes like, oh, that could never happen. You know this is going to happen. There are psychologists that are worried about this happening, interpreting. They can actually, you can sit there and have your chat and put your feet up and talk about your parents or whatever, and they're going to capsulize all that into notes. And they're even to the point they get to decide what medication you probably need. And so I'm very, as a dinosaur, I'm especially concerned about this. There's even stories, Mr. Chair, about there was one student who was talking to this individual, and he had a hard time putting his words together because he's so used to doing Chat GPT. And so I think this is the thing, and thank you for being proactive. And I just think this is, if this is the never happening, someday you're going to be famous for being prescient. Thank you.
Senator McQuaid?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Abler, I have a bill to prohibit AI therapy chatbots because they'd be practicing medicine without a license. You're welcome to join it.
Anybody else? Senator Duckworth?
Does this apply to legislators?
Senator, it should apply to legislation.
Scary Orwellian future if we aren't proactive. So thank you for bringing this bill forward. All those in favor of the 16 amendment, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The A16 is adopted. Senator Kunish, are you ready for the 823? I know we're out of order, so.
Yep, I am.
Thank you. Begin when you're ready.
Sure. So this is just making changes to Pellsby and the Tier 2. We had some discussion around applications for a Tier 2 license. And we were able to work with Pellsby and MDE to come up with an agreement on this so that an application for Tier 2 license has to follow all of the requirements that are listed here. And under 5, the applicant must be enrolled in a state-approved teacher prep program in boarding states with equivalent student teaching requirements, is enrolled in state-approved teacher preparation program not offered in Minnesota with equivalent student teaching requirements, and is enrolled in a state-approved teacher preparation program in a shortage area with equivalent student requirements. And then on the back page, it's kind of a disclaimer that Tier 2 licensed teachers who obtain a Tier 2 license based on their enrollment in a state-approved teacher prep program, it doesn't mean that the teacher met the coursework requirements. And so that is my amendment.
Members, any? Senator Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Kunish, what is the definition of a shortage area on line 1.19?
Are we allowed to ask people to come up and clarify?
Yeah, that's their job.
Our team will be here.
Okay. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, the definition of shortage area is in statute section 122A.06, subdivision 6, and it's shortage area means licensure fields and economic development regions reported by Pellsby as experiencing a teacher shortage. And it also means an economic development regions where the aggregate percentage of indigenous teachers and teachers of color in the region is lower than the aggregate percentage of kindergarten through grade 12 indigenous students and students of color in that region. And only individuals who close the gap between these percentages qualify as filling a shortage by this definition.
Senator Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Kunish, I've had some folks reach out to me on this, and I directed them to your way after our committee meeting on Monday. And my understanding is that there was a meeting, maybe even today, with stakeholders, and that the language in front of us isn't quite what was agreed on in that meeting. So I'm not going to make any changes, but I would just encourage all the folks that are working on this to make sure that the language is representative of what the stakeholders discussed.
Senator Miller, I don't know who you're talking to. I did not meet with anybody today around this language.
Okay, Mr. Chair and Senator Kunish, my understanding was they were going to reach out to your office and set up a meeting, so I'm not sure if that's happened or not, but I will encourage them to do so.
Certainly, and I'd be happy to hear from them and have that conversation.
Thank you both. Anybody else? Senator Abler?
Oh, it's kind of one of my favorite topics. On the page 2, just reading what it doesn't mean. So these are people enrolled in a program that can be doing something at tier 2. To get to tier 3, even after 3 years, that doesn't get them there. They have to get the full degree. Is that what happens to somebody who wants to get to tier 3? Senator Kunish, if you yield.
Mr. Chair, yes, you still have to meet the requirements to get to tier 3.
Mr. Chair, there's a lot of words in this amendment. Would it be friendly to make it a little shorter, just to kind of clean up some of that language to be more flexible on tier 3? Never mind, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you both again. Anybody else? Okay, all those in favor of the 823 amendment, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The 823 amendment passes. Senator Kunish, you have the 824 amendment.
Yes. Something that is my favorite topic to talk about. This is an amendment on behalf of the Minnesota Library Association. And what it does is it updates and kind of clarifies statute about how Minnesota's library system, even though they already are collaborating and they operate very well together, this is just clarifying cleanup language for the 7 multi-county multi-types, and it's updating statute 134.351 to provide to ensure that they're providing services to schools, academic, special, and public libraries across the 7 geographic regions. And it just cleans up the governing aspect of working in all of those library areas.
Members, any comments or questions? Senator Duckworth.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. And just briefly, did they speak to this on Monday at all? I know this is an amendment, so do they support this? I guess is really my question.
Yes, and Mr. Chair, sorry. Yes, and there are 2 letters in your package, and we actually have the legislative chair of the MLA sitting here. So if you have any questions, I know she'd be happy to speak to it.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. The letter will suffice for me. Thank you.
Thank you, senators. Anybody else? Okay. All those in favor of the 823 amendment, say aye. Aye. The 824 amendment, sorry. The 824 amendment, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. Senator Mann, we are on the A13 amendment. Do you need to pause for a minute and catch your breath?
No, Mr. Chair, A13
Okay.
is agreed upon language by stakeholders regarding the crisis management for children who require extra care when we're doing drills at school and making sure that everyone is kept safe in our schools.
Any discussion on this? All those in favor of the A13 the A13 amendment, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The A13 amendment passes. Senator Mann to the A15 amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't see it in my packet. Okay, so the A15 is regarding the cell phones in schools. It adds smart glasses. as we heard that it's not only cell phones and watches now, but also the smart glasses that are causing issues. And then we took Senator Miller's thoughts into consideration, making sure that we clarify that a phone can be brought into the building according to local policy and then may not be used during the school day.
Okay, I've never heard of smart glasses, so, wow. Senator McQuaid, maybe we should call the students back up to tell us what some of these things mean. Senator McQuaid?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me horrify you briefly. You can purchase glasses that look exactly like mine, but on the inside of the screen, what I'm seeing could be the news, social media, yes, and it can record. There's no light that tells you it's recording, so I could be recording everybody here, everything they're saying, their faces, upload it to my computer, you'd have no idea. Literally anybody can be wearing smart glasses in a doctor's office, in a private meeting. They're terrible, and they shouldn't be in school. They really shouldn't be anywhere, to be honest with you, but alas, we can regulate it here.
Members? Yeah, I'm just,
Mr. Chair.
The kids are gonna outsmart whatever we do, so, anyway, yes, Senator Abler.
We ruined the 6-7 in the last meeting. We're clearly the hip bunch here. Do we even say hip anymore? That's another old word. Riz? Yeah, Riz, yeah. Whatever, I like being a dinosaur, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Anybody else want to weigh in on smart glasses? Okay, all those in favor of the A15 amendment, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Any discussion on the bill at large as amended? Senator McQuaid?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank all the members of this committee because I think this is a really good omnibus bill. I think it reflects a lot of really hard work, good input, stakeholder input, legislator input. I mean, I think this might end up being, I've heard about how some other omnibus are going in other committees, and I think maybe we're going to set the example for what a really good, robust, and widely supported omnibus can look like. So thank you for leading us through that, Mr. Chair, and I'm looking forward to voting yes on it.
Thank you, Senator Quaid. It takes a village, but thank you for that. Senator Kunish.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say thank you again to the committee, but especially to you. Probably going to tear up here for the next couple of weeks. This is your last policy omnibus bill. I think it might be one of the better ones, the best ones, and it's certainly a lot smaller by, a fourth at least than the other ones that we put together. But I know that these are things that you really take very, very seriously, and you take to heart not only what the legislators here bring to you, but also what the students are sharing with you, listening to their voices, especially the teachers, the allies, and the folks out there that really have the best of our students in mind. And we know that that's really where you are when you put these things together, because you think a lot about it, you talk a lot about it, you ask good questions. And I just want to say thank you for being a partner in all of this, and just always wanting the best for our kids.
Senator Abler.
Well, thanks. Yeah, Mr. Chair, it's been interesting, and it's, I left the house one time, the other body, to leave there, and that was kind of hard. And I hope you miss us next year. and all of that, and it's just been a pleasure to work with you. So I just wanted to say that, and you know, all we needed to do was what we learned in kindergarten, work and play well with each other, and I think this has been a good year for that. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. This is a surprise that it's this efficient today. So thank you, members. Like I said, it does take a village. I can't, for the life of me, stop and not say thanks to, nope, not that. Thank you. First of all, thank everybody in this audience. You come here week after week after week, and you bring your testimony and your areas of expertise and your wisdom, and this place can't function without the wisdom. I wish lobbyists did not have the negative connotation that it does, because without you guys, we wouldn't have your knowledge and your institutional wisdom that you bring to this. So, so thank you, everybody in this audience that informs us when we do right and when we do wrong. I do think this bill this year only has 63 mandates, so I'm excited about that. We got one less than last year. Yeah, thanks. And I just want to thank my vice chair, Senator May Quaid, and my ranking minority member, Julia Coleman, and the members of the committee, Senator Abler, Senator Bolden, Senator Duckworth, Senator Hochschild, Senator Kunish, Senator Mann, Senator Miller, Senator Wiesenberg. And again, thank you all for bringing in students from your communities to testify this year. A huge shout out to the people on my right and my left. This job, they bring joy and a sense of, I don't know that word, that joie de vivre. Thank you. That word to every day of their life, and it's a great place to walk through these doors when you're greeted with huge smiles by your staff. So Emma and Eileen, thank you. To the nonpartisan staff, Ms. Lewis and Jenna, wherever you are, Ms. Hofer, and Mr. Arneson, thank you. Ryan, back in the corner back there, sitting next to his buddy Ed Cook, thank you both back there for the role you bring. The pages this year, I can't thank you enough. With that said, I just want to say this is not going to be our last hearing. I want to do an informational hearing, and I need you guys. And so with that said, I want more feedback on how we should be celebrating this incredible moment. Thank you for your testimony last Monday. The 250th is going to come once in our lifetime, and I want to get it right. So if you know of schools that are doing something special, if you know of superintendents and principals and that are doing something unique this year, that's what I want to have an informational hearing on, and just so we can spread the word of this golden opportunity to make civics be something that we take pride in, and as we move forward and celebrate, you know, what's the 500th anniversary gonna, what? Oh, quincentennial. None of us are going to see that, but whatever we do on July 4th, 1776 in our schools. Last week, Monday, I threatened to have school be held on July 4th, and I don't know if the chair of Ed Finance would approve of that, because I don't know where the money's going to come from, but I do. I wish we had school every year on July 4th. I wish we just all came back for that one day, because it's a very special day in America. And it's a very unique opportunity to do something a little bit beyond just fireworks and parades and all the wonderful things of July 4th, and use it as a teachable moment to sit down with your kids and read the Declaration and ultimately the Constitution that's going to come in 1787 or not 2080, whatever. 250 years after 1787. And so I just want to thank everybody. So we're going to have this informational hearing. Please bring your ideas and your thoughts and your moments of brilliance that if you're in your communities or that you know that think their schools are doing. I'd like to do that and promote and thank those schools for celebrating our semi-quincentennial. And with that said, we are... Oh. Wow, and again, the staff, thank you. So what do we have to do? Okay, so all those in favor of the Senate file, I move that Senate File 3870 as amended be recommended to pass and placed on general orders. She forgot, it did say good morning in my note. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. The education policy omnibus bill passes. And thank you all for everything you've done. We're adjourned.